Salam alaikum, namaskara, namaste, hello. Hello everybody, how's it going? My name is Arun. I'm here with my friend Chintan. It's a new world we're living in with Corona, and with it, me and my friend we decided to start something new of our own. We have a lot of time at home, so unsure of how to spend it, we decided to do this. We've been wanting to do something like this for a while, and yeah, we've started. Not sure what we're going to call it, Chintan, but I don't know. I'm calling it Corona Chronicles for now, but we'll change the name later if we
Sounds
want
good.
to.
Sounds good.
Say hi, Chintan.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up? Hi everyone. Yeah, as Arun said, we have been talking. We just talk. We just randomly talk all the time about things happening in the world, and now that Corona is happening a lot, we just thought we'll talk about it and just record it and maybe put it on YouTube or something. So yeah, we have some topics, and we'll just be probably be giving a brief overview and just discussing it. So yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
Yeah,
what do you got?
yeah. I think one of the first topics. I think what I found quite interesting, which again I found it on r slash coronavirus on Reddit. This was the forecasting of the impact on hospital beds in the U.S. Uh, in the next 4 months, mainly
Mm.
because of coronavirus.
Oh,
They just predicting the number of hospital beds. They just wrote a paper, and they
who's
are the
they?
yeah, I don't know, like IMHE.
Yeah, since it's from Reddit, it's probably accurate, right?
Yeah, that's
Mm. Okay.
our trust on Reddit,
All
I
right.
guess. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go on.
but yeah, so this the projections, the main point to consider is that they assume that the social distancing is being applied, which I don't think is yet being done quite properly here. But yeah,
There's all over US, is it?
yeah, this is entire US.
Okay.
This is for entire US. So according to their
Okay.
predictions, uh, the peak is not yet here. The peak is probably going to be mid-April, where the number of beds required, they are projecting it to be
Okay.
around 2000 to 231,000, which is way more than the
Oh.
capacity, I think. So the shortage, as you can see here, is most probably going to be around 50K beds. So, but this is
Oh,
assuming social distancing. So the case could be
sorry.
much
We're
worse.
talking about the whole of US, is it?
Yeah, entire US.
Oh, okay, okay. Why does
So you
that
can
sound like 231,000? Yeah, maybe it's not less. But
you
what are the
can
number of cases now total? It's like 60K, huh?
600K. What in the US?
Yeah, in US,
In the
yeah.
US, it's crossed 100K now. So this
Oh,
is,
crazy.
yeah,
Congrats, congrats.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You showed me this also. Very good sites.
Yeah. So this US is right now in 104. This is not like all the time updated. I think it will be more than this right now.
Right, right.
Um,
Anyways, you show me. So the bed thing, okay, mid-April. Why mid-April?
no, mid-April is where they are predicting the peak is going to be. The peak is not yet here,
Why?
right?
Oh, it's
Because
just at the rate it's growing, is
yeah, at
it?
the rate it's growing. Mainly at the rate it's
Oh,
growing.
okay.
Exactly.
Not because I was thinking the weather, summer, and all that thing.
No. It's only
No.
because of the rate
Uh,
it's growing and assuming social distancing. So it could.
that's a coincidence. April 14th is when the India curfew ends, just in case you're wondering.
I thought it was
Oh, by
twenty
the way, for
first.
viewers, I'm in Bangalore right now, and that's where I'm talking from. Chintan's in Overland, somewhere in Kansas. Showed me the whole map and everything.
Overland
Anyways,
Park.
Kansas, right?
Overland Park, yeah, Kansas.
Right? Overland Park, that's right. So yeah. Anyways, in India, the curfew it's ending on April 14th. So
Right.
yeah. So
Um. So yeah, the case the number of this could be much worse. This probably is going to be much worse because the social distancing and all isn't properly handled. Like people are still coming out. They are just uh, meeting up and everything. And
okay.
there are many of these states which aren't even in on lockdown. Like for example, the governor of Mississippi is not at all taking it seriously.
Yeah,
He's just
I
telling.
heard about that.
I think I have
Mm.
this right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
What
just
did he say?
he just rejects like the lockdown, and he's telling he's he's telling Mississippi is never going to be China and things like that. So I don't know.
Okay.
Even though he's telling that, I think the
China,
cities,
right.
yeah. So I think
Go on.
cities are in Mississippi are still like the city mayors and everyone are still encouraging all this. So I don't think it's. I think people are still uh, like following a little bit of social distancing, but not at all enough. I feel that's why the rate is crazy high, and US is probably number one because of that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Something related. No, I can't find a video. It was an army chief or something. He was in China. I posted the video to you. I don't know if you saw it a few days ago. If you can find it on Signal, it'll be nice. But it's okay if you can't.
okay.
It was very related because for these beds and all these things, what they're planning to do. These are probably the beds in a hospital. No, number of beds available in hospital.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So what they're doing is they're sending out what do you call it? A notice to everybody saying all hotels, restaurants, anywhere with big areas, schools, and everything. They're planning to use all their beds and use all their facilities to set up these temporary, I don't know, hospitals, clinics, if you want to call it,
Right.
for treating COVID patients because they're anticipating or they're preparing for that scale. They're going to be ready for it. So
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
already implemented in New York and few states,
Yeah. I
and it
think
was
in
a
New
very
York.
good speech. Like everyone was impressed with the way he spoke and everything. Full confidently he was speaking.
Right.
I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, I'm just wondering, yeah, if they'll compensate for
I
all
think in New
this.
York they are already using like hotels and all
There you go. There you
as
go.
uh, as hospitals and everything. I think.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah.
So they want to, because they've given the grants, like all the money has been sanctioned for all that. So they're not worried about that. He was talking about it in the speech. I wish I could give you a link, but I can't find it. When I find it, I'll give it to you.
Right.
But
This also predicts the number of deaths also. Again, like peak is probably like 14 to 15 to something. Deaths per
how
day.
many?
Deaths per day. So deaths per day is they're predicting around 2,500 per day.
What is it today? What is it today?
Today it is I think 790. Like I would like,
Really?
yeah, it's like eight, maybe
No, today is
maybe
26th, the 7th or something. No,
yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
no, but no, it's still a lot. No, it sounds right. It's around that much only, I think.
No, but
300, 500.
I think the number of deaths. No, I don't think it is like maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Wait.
Yeah, per day, it sounds like a lot, no?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'm wrong. Those numbers I've heard from Italy. I don't think those numbers are there
Yeah.
in the US.
Okay, but those beds were this thing, huh? Of the US.
Sorry. Yeah, this is all US, and you can even choose the state also. Probably New York is going to be the
Okay.
worst.
What about your state? Missouri, Kansas.
Kansas is relatively less because it's not that much that spread over here. So
Right, right. Widespread. Okay, so that's that. Beds. What's next?
like related. I mean, not related to this, but related to like the spread of coronavirus.
Yeah,
Coronavirus news. Everyone wants to know. It's big, right? It's huge right now. So
of course.
everyone is wanting to know. Everyone thinks they know a lot about coronavirus and everything.
Yeah,
Because I
because they
was
do.
talking to another friend of mine also. He
Yeah.
was telling he listens to Trump's speech every day, and
Right.
that he knows a lot about it.
Of course. Of
But I
course.
read the
Trump
I yeah
Trump
I've
has the most knowledge on the
yeah,
topic. So
exactly. So
yeah,
on Reddit
yeah,
again, this
yeah.
r slash cool guides, I came across this graph, which is
Right. I've
pretty
heard of
interesting. Yeah,
this.
it's called the Dunning Kruger effect.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
So
you're talking about yeah, I guess they use it in everything now, every topic. But
yeah,
I'm a for those of you who don't know, I believe in Bitcoin a lot and the whole movements and everything. This is a weekly graph on the Bitcoin subreddit.
right.
So yeah, and I'm very familiar with this. So
Yeah.
it's about being a believer, knowing, and then the learning curve and all that. So yeah.
Exactly. So this is confidence versus knowledge in field. So even
There
if
you go. There you go.
you probably think you know a lot, but you might be right here, which is I know everything,
Right,
which
right,
your knowledge probably is less. But as you
right,
know more and more about it, your confidence kind of goes down, and then
right. You start
hopefully,
realizing how much you actually know.
yeah, exactly. So hopefully you are somewhere here or here is what you
No,
hope.
I
But
never come down for some reason. I don't know. Maybe you plebs, you unintelligent fools.
what you never come down.
Yeah, I'm always on I know everything
Right,
because I usually know everything.
right.
You guys aren't, so
Exactly. This the graph is exactly for people like you. So,
no, that's not for me. But anyways,
but yeah,
anyways,
this was. I thought it was pretty interesting in these interesting times. So,
right. Cool. So another thing, America, you were talking on Mississippi and this thing. So do you even know why that's happening?
what? Why? What is happening?
Why is Mississippi so reluctant to enforce these kind of lockdowns, or why any of it? Why they opposed to
So,
the
so,
whole?
so there could be multiple reasons. So, one of the main reasons I would say is people are. I mean, not people. Politicians mainly are worried about the economy. So
Okay,
they think that as people go into lockdown, the economy will fall. So they're not caring
right,
that much about human lives. They're caring more about the economy and everything. So
right,
that could be one of the first reasons. And then Mississippi is like compared to other U.S. states is a little less. It's more orthodox and little less developed, I guess. And so people could be
okay.
ignorant and they
Oh,
might want
are
to
you
be.
saying Mississippi people are dumber than you, other people in America? Huh?
I mean, if
Because
you read,
they're white trash, huh?
dude, if you read the comments on Reddit about
Right,
Mississippi,
right.
so you know
Absolutely.
that Alabama is considered pretty backward or whatever, right?
Right.
So
You're one of those guys. I forgot the social justice warrior types. I
I'm
forgot.
not at all, but I'm fairly I'm now only referring to
Yeah,
Reddit.
fair analysis. Huh? Okay.
No fair analysis. This is Reddit analysis. So
Okay.
Reddit will there'll be comments from people from Alabama saying Mississippi, you make us look good and everything. So, but
Right. So,
like
yeah.
this was again comments on this governor's post or whatever. So
Right. I mean, I can't give you specific. I don't know state wise, but I can understand. I probably heard Alabama being backward and all that. But they are conservative states, right?
yeah,
If I'm not wrong,
yeah,
probably
yeah. They are very
Republican.
conservative. Exactly.
Yeah. One of the main reasons has to do. I mean, the different perspectives, the ways to look at it. The way I look at it is trust in the government,
Right.
because there's no, it's a very justifiable skepticism that you think the government will take advantage of the situation and they'll change the laws in the excuse of an emergency, and those laws will be difficult to revoke later on when when time of peace and all these kinds of issues, right? And then the economic policy, which no one is sure of, but they're going full ahead. There's so much skepticism there how complicated economics is, and all these decisions are made, lockdowns, rules, and the worry is post emergency, post lockdown, post crisis. How do we get back our rights? Will we get back our freedoms? Will we get back other things?
Right.
So all this is based on the fact that there's no trust in governments being fair and open-minded and have the best interests of the people in their heart or mind. And that, I think, has some basis, maybe some merit in
Right.
that argument, because right, you see what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like because of that, there could be more people affected in the future or
Exactly,
whatever. So
exactly. So then it's difficult. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I mean, I might eventually in this video, but at the moment, I'm not gonna make a moral judgment on it.
right.
But it's just difficult because you have to trust the stats, the number, the extent of the damage it'll cause, and whether it's necessary. So you give me an American perspective. Let me give you how it is in India, what the worry is, right? So there's a growing voice saying that, for those of you that don't know, in India, our Prime Minister 1 week ago announced a 3 week lockdown until April 14th. And then most of it agreed. It was crazy because before that he had a test saying, 1 week he said he called it the Janta curfew. Janta translates to people or public, and it was named so because we had to voluntarily adhere to the curfew, which is stay home. You know about this, right, Chintan?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure you know
I
about
know it.
it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So it was a big success. Most people followed it. Most people stood at home. At 5 o'clock, I even posted a video. Actually, we should share it with everyone online probably. But my dad was full excited. So at 5 o'clock, everyone was gonna come out and ring the bells and hit their plates in appreciation of all the doctors and firemen and all the
I
people
think
working
I
for.
think this was started first in Italy. I think
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah, sure,
tradition,
sure.
the clapping for the doctors thing.
So, But yeah, it's probably inspired by one of them. But there's an Indian tone to this, in the sense, I don't know if again all your listeners, but we have a shank, no,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
shell and all,
yeah.
and we have that क्या कहते हैं उसको chin chin we have
The Ganti
for
for
during gun. Wow, we had the bell also, all that.
yeah, for
So
puja.
our version was that you can call it a Hindu leaning, but still very Indian in a sense. We had all that. We had the shank, people blowing the shells, and then the conch. I think they're called conch in English, anyways. And then yeah, the bell ringing the bells and all that. So my dad also got this whole speaker out, and I was recording. He was dancing and clapping. Dad,
Speaker,
62 years old, but huh?
speaker.
Yeah, he got a speaker and he's playing on his phone because we don't have the instruments. And everyone fucking around was staring and clapping and felt excited and all that. Yeah, I showed you the video at least just a few seconds. Maybe you
Yeah,
didn't
I
see
did.
it,
I
but
saw that. I saw that. I didn't see the
right.
speaker though.
Oh, a good speaker. I was in rush. I was too. It's first time. I'm not used to taking videos either. So, anyways, so the point I was making was right. So we had the curfew, 3 weeks lockdown, and all that. At first, everyone's agreement, but later on, people realized the daily wage workers and those who are getting working, the lower income people who
Yeah,
really survive on daily wages, right? They have every day. They don't have a fixed salary, and then the unorganized sector. Most of Indian economy is unorganized sector. So there's a whole breakdown of their payments and their access to food. They're used to eating from street vendors, right? You have
right.
these unofficial, unorganized street vendors,
Yeah,
and they used to eat from them. And all of them are suffering now. And whether it's worth the trade-off, losing lives with corona and the disruption it may cause, and these guys who are likely again going to lose their lives,
yeah,
unless of course the government takes the right measures, which is what the people are hoping for.
yeah,
But you can never be too sure. And yeah, so it's that balance we're trying to maintain. And because as far as they're concerned, they're like, we're going to die anyways, who
right.
gives a shit, what do we do? No. So might as well just not follow the curfew and break and do what we need to get our food for tomorrow. So
I was reading like
yeah,
there could be like some kind of minimum wage given to people and things like that. What about that? Like, what?
I mean, where you're talking about, America or India?
America, yeah, America. I think the bill there was a bill for the 2 trillion, 2K
Yeah,
per family or whatever of four or
yeah,
whatever thing.
yeah.
But I'm talking about India. India also, I thought there was something or there was something planned like that, right?
I'm sure there's very a lot of what's the word? A lot of disagreement, not disagreement, disappointment. Let's call it, in the finance minister's announcements day for yesterday. She had a speech and says nothing substantive for these daily wage workers and all. The demographic that will suffer the most.
Right.
There's not enough compensation for that. But then again, there's also this argument to be made that if you see the video I posted, right? Open the one by the print. Karan Thapar. He's talking
This
to
one.
Pranav. Pranav, that's the one. All my data I'm getting for this one actually. This guy Pranav Sen. Play the video. Maybe you can go a few seconds in to show his face.
Professor
Press
said
10-second forward.
data released by the
That guy.
National
Pause. Just
Statistics
pause.
Office
Yeah.
on
Pause.
Tuesday
You can pause.
suggests that
Yeah, I mean it's a 1 hour long video, so we're not going to play
Right,
it.
right.
But I don't have the timestamps now. Maybe I'll do it and post it on our Instagram page. We'll see. But Pranav Sen, he's our chief statistician in India, and he was saying, so he's giving most of the data I'm talking daily wage workers and all that. Farmers will have issues because that people aren't accessing the markets and they're not traveling around. So basically, the whole economy gets screwed in a way, and the states have to involve mainly. There's very little in India. Central India has a federal system, and the central government can't do much because the states have the ability to really rally people and control of all the organizations within the country. So yeah, it's if those of you interested, you should check out the video. He goes in depth. This is not the video though. This is
Oh, you're
a
talking about the.
demonetization. There's one on coronavirus, the newer video,
Oh,
but it's the same to participants, so it's fine.
right.
They'll find it again. The Wire only. Uh, yeah, maybe you can YouTube search it and you'll find it.
hello and welcome
That's
to
the
a special
one.
interview.
That's the
Oh,
one.
this one, the first one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah, I think that's with. Here you see with current situation, food. No, not this. Go back.
Not this.
No, go to that all
Yeah,
video
Hello and
page.
welcome to a special interview for the Wire. Almost as
Scroll
important
down. You
as the
see that
question
with the
what
current
the
situation,
actual
food
coronavirus
riots are
do to
very
the
real.
country's health is the question.
This is the one. Yeah, anyways, you can leave a link in the description, Chintan, so
Right, right,
gets
yeah.
the viewers.
I will raise with you.
So, yeah, that's another thing you're saying. And if they don't have food, they're going to riot. And that's when, things are going to shit, So, the point again, I'm going back to the point I'm making about Mississippi and those guys worried about government intervention is what they're worried of.
Right.
It's not necessarily a selfish act of,
No, but the thing
yeah,
is, they should at least encourage like social distancing and everything, right? They are kind of being ignorant about that. Like maybe not complete lockdown or whatever, but they should be telling that you should be staying at home and things like that. So
right.
they,
Actually, yeah.
yeah,
That is indicative of their indifference to the whole situation,
yeah.
for sure.
Oh, you're using, right?
Using what?
No, you
Oh,
you
am I?
you're trying to use my computer, but
No,
you
I
can.
am actually. What was I trying to do? I was trying to look at actually the time. There's no time limit showing. I can't see, but that's okay. You can see it. That's fine.
No, you're using my this thing. You can use my this thing. I think you have control over.
That's I do, but that's
Yeah,
fine. It's okay. Nothing important.
yeah.
But right, the like I call it the lust for liberty. It's a hard thing to get over, but again, it all comes down to trust, man. The state governments don't trust the federal, and because okay, this actually it's a good segue for another topic because when it comes to trust, the biggest and the most important organization involved in the whole rallying of people and advice being given to governments on how to treat their people and how to respond to the whole what do you call it, epidemiological aspects of this situation is the WHO,
Yeah.
and they are being questioned. I don't know if you came across this.
No, I read that the CEO, not CEO, the head or whatever is like they're pressurizing him to resign and things, but I don't know much about. Like I don't know the criticism on who. No, I don't.
Oh, right. So something I had read up on a little. Is it okay if I take 2 seconds to grab my charger?
Yeah, wait. Let me just.
No.
Yeah.
All right, say people, we're back. Sorry for that, few technical difficulties, but where were we? Right. So I was talking about who. The biggest skepticism is in
WHO.
WHO. Right, and you were asking about why they want the head of the WHO chief.
Yeah. To step
There's
down.
talks of his allegiance to China. I don't know if you heard this.
What they? Oh, okay. They were
Yeah.
blaming China or something.
No, this is a whole political game.
Right.
I don't know if this is the kind of discussion our viewers are looking for, but it's impossible not to include politics in this because it's all international. The UN's involved, and now the blame game has started already. China's denying everything and all that.
Right.
So, we're given warnings from Jan, right? I mean, early warning signs and all that. Have you heard about that controversy?
Like they gave warning signs. What?
Yeah, I mean, there was indication. The WHO and January.
Right. The spread you're saying.
Yeah, in January of this year, they said there's no evidence of human to human transfer and that we should continue all economic activity as is.
Oh, okay. I see.
It would be awesome if you could get the tweet. You can say WHO, Twitter. What else? What can you say? Human to human transfer, January. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm on a New York Post. I can't find it. Yeah, there you go. Actually it's very popular news what I'm saying. So I'll give you the link on our chat. You can maybe copy it from chat and show. You get it?
Maybe.
No, on Skype. On
Oh.
Skype. It's on Skype. Hello. Can everyone see me now? Don't you mean to hide me? Hello, everybody. Okay. All right. There you go. Okay. Right. So read it. Preliminary investigation conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmission of novel coronavirus. Right. This was Jan 14th.
Right. But
Now,
so
I think
this,
this is one of a series of tweets.
okay.
So,
No, but so this is, so the controversy is that China lied, or who lied? Who, WHO
no, no,
lied? Is it?
no. I guess lies are some of the allegations, but that's not the primary allegation. The allegation is that because they were waiting for concrete evidence, or maybe because they were colluding with China and hiding the facts, they didn't warn the world, and not enough people took action to prevent what was to unfold later months,
Right.
February, March, right? So yeah, and they're fully. So in fact, a month after this, the chief of, when he was accused of the same thing, then saying that what's wrong with you, and it's clearly spreading from humans, and something along those lines. Next month or something, he went there, he saw a check, and again he gave the thumbs up or something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing and not defining clearly, but something along. He gave an approval that everything's being fine, everything's under control. And right after he said that, yeah, we saw what happened in China and it spread.
Right.
And it was so obvious it was on China and Wuhan and all that. And see, I'll show you, even though where I found the tweet, the headline says, "Who haunted by the old tweet saying China found no human transmission of coronavirus?" So this all connects to all the kind of controversy. Then it just opened the whole Pandora's box. So there was, you probably heard about that doctor that was maybe killed or something, a
Yeah,
whistleblower
yeah, the
was
Chinese
revealing.
whistleblower. Yeah,
He
yeah.
was like, I don't know, arrested or killed, or who knows what China does with its people they don't like. And then, yeah, all those kind of issues. And then, yeah, the spread, and they weren't accepting initially, and until it was so big that they couldn't hide it. And yeah, so as a result, the US, a lot of, even in Florida, there's a guy, immediately someone already filed a case in the court against the Chinese government for criminal justice and, hiding of facts and not revealing it in time in order to save thousands of lives. So they're accusing them of multiple deaths and all that,
Right.
and the whole worldwide. And in retaliation, China's now saying, no, it didn't even start from Wuhan. It started in Italy. And then they said, no, it's from America. It's an American virus. So WHO personnel, WHO, some other health organization personnel was commenting, saying this is typical Chinese tactics. They try to force the impression that there's no way to prove where it started from.
Right.
They try to create a situation or environment where people are thinking that there is no clear evidence of where the virus would have been started from, engendered, epicenter, whatever you want to call it. So
Right. Originate.
yeah, because this controversy came up also when America was trying to rename the virus to the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus, and
Right.
China was fighting against it. And before I move on from this point, I just make one more thing. They've been in the last, this is again Shekhar Gupta. I didn't post it, but you can just show them the channel if you want on the screen. But Shekhar Gupta, he in the last few weeks, he's the guy I listen to. You guys listening from America and Europe and all over the world, you might want to check out his channel, because he's someone you haven't been exposed to, but he's a very good guy. He might not be as articulate as you guys listening, as you guys usually, as the people you guys usually listen to, but he's good enough, and he has a lot of insightful ideas and thoughts on the topic, and he's a very senior journalist in India. So he was talking about how there were like 50 other viruses in the last few years or decades. Not 50, maybe 15, maybe like 10 viruses or something, 10 to 15. And most of them were named after places. But even when it came to China, it was named SARS and not the Chinese virus or the any city, wherever it was, the Wuhan virus or whatever it is. But usually, like Ebola is named after the river it's coming from. There's some
Oh, I didn't know that.
virus in Australia. Yeah, exactly. Even I didn't. Like I said, he's a really good journalist. And in Australia, there's a virus from some town named or a virus named after some town in Australia. And a lot of places, America, Europe, a lot of countries. But when it came to China, it wasn't called any Chinese name. And he's claiming, and I tend to believe him, it has to do with China's influence on UN. Given how much money they're pumping into that, all the bureaucrats.
Which video is it? Like what China did wrong with coronavirus, or what damages this thing?
Let's see. Oh, wait, you open the page? Show me that. Hold on. No, wait. Show me his video page, maybe. Oh, it's prints again. Go to the videos, click on videos.
Yeah.
Okay. You go.
Why is it all in Hindi?
Some of his videos. So he took the initiative to make it Hindi because It's an
It's
emergency, and he wanted enough people to be reading all the
oh,
security measures they can take. So he's otherwise he's always in English. Why 1.3 billion? Wait, okay, wait, hold on, move, don't move. What damages? Yeah, that's the one. What damage has Corona done to
oh, that
whose
only.
reputation?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's that. Guys can check it out. He discusses again things I brought up now, and he was talking about yeah, China's influence, growing and significant influence in the UN now, and why the UN is losing credibility. And WHO is a UN organization, by the way, in case you didn't know, because it was news to me.
What?
But
It was news to you.
yeah, yeah, I had a feeling. I wasn't sure. Just yesterday, you were in the speech actually talking. I knew they had the status of UN. I didn't know they were directly under the UN. But yeah.
Was it like
Uh,
civics class from fifth standard or something?
oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was not bad in social science actually, but anyways, I have a bad memory, you know. So yeah, yeah, China's influence in the UN because they are paying the money, they're getting all the bureaucrats, they're funding all the new chapters in UN. So inevitably their influence will increase. And US is damaging reputation across the world. You can blame Trump for it. You can blame whatever you want, the US people, whoever you want to blame. But US's influence internationally is reducing. As a result, that void is being taken over by China, and that's infecting the WHO and stuff like that. So there's going to be dispute even on even the origins of the virus. Just it's crazy thought when you think about it. But I'm guessing at this point most of the world knows it's from Wuhan. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think most of the world believes that at least and knows it at least. I think.
yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
here though Trump keeps calling it the Chinese virus. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of the guy, but I do respect a democratically elected person, and I guess I owe him that much respect. But yeah, I'm glad there's some kind of opposition, even if it's as unreasonable a voice as Trump. So as long as there's some opposition, it keeps balance, right? My doctrine of balance, Chintan, you know what I'm talking about.
another video.
Right, another idea, exactly. But yeah, so that's what I've been looking around about yesterday, last few days. What else? Oh, the right. So we gave this one thing. We gave the libertarian perspective, right, and the perspective of why people are opposing. And maybe it's obvious to many, but I think we should probably discuss why we do need these lockdown, why we're taking these extreme measures, and why we're overreacting.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, do you know? Do you know why we're doing it?
I mean, you have told me a
Your
little
view.
bit, but I think you would
Yeah.
better
No, I'm
explain
sure
it.
you would have read some on it. Everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, like mainly to. I mean, the main reason is, I guess, to curb it and reduce it because
Curb the spread, right?
yeah,
Mm. Of course.
but
I mean, but yeah, right. Basically, yes. But so you should probably, it's a good time to bring up that article by Nassim Taleb, and I'm sure most of our listeners will know about him. It's a pretty
I don't know.
popular. Yeah, you didn't know because you don't read, and you're all you do is get high every day. So I don't expect you, and you're just on Reddit. Reddit, you think Reddit's the world,
Yeah,
the ultimate abode of knowledge.
but
I
Reddit
mean, you don't
is
need to.
everything. Like even this guy, I'm sure, is there on Reddit. So
Of course he is. Of course he is. You're right. You're right. There's some merits in that case, but whatever. You're still limited. Like, cause you're only on our coronavirus or what's on the front page of Reddit. No, you don't go to the depths of Reddit.
I mean, I do kind of, but anyways, okay.
Maybe. Either way, you didn't find this article, and I found it on Twitter. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
And he's a popular philosopher, statistician. He has a lot of books. Again, I know him through Bitcoin. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Bitcoin guy, and we'll talk about it another time. But so the heading of this is the ethics of precaution, individual and systemic risk. I'll just read the first line. Chin, do you want to read it?
this thing, the one in the box.
That's right.
Precautionary decisions do not scale. Collective safety may require excessive individual risk avoidance, even if it conflicts with an individual's own interests and benefits. It may require an individual to worry about risks that are comparatively insignificant.
There you go. What do you think that means? We're just reading, are you?
I mean, I think the explanation that day that you were giving me is you. I think you are
Yeah.
much better. I don't know the understanding
Of
and all. So
course, maybe. Yes, Chintan, I'm better at everything.
so I
Don't worry.
think
Stop saying
so,
that.
so I
No,
think you
no, no.
should do it.
Please, just explain it. No, no, I just want to know if I can't explain it better than Nassim
No,
Taleb. So if
so
you can
so
understand it by Nassim Taleb, that makes
so
sense.
I'll maybe give the example that you only gave that day. Like
Go
so,
for it. Go
yeah.
for it. Yeah.
So that's what, like, about, let's say, plane crashes or whatever, right? Unless
Uh-huh.
something happens, you don't really know. You don't really like, the evidence isn't there for it,
Yeah.
but you
Right.
still have to, I guess, overreact
Yeah.
to
Oh,
overcome that,
yeah. To avoid that.
to avoid that. And yeah, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I don't
No, yeah, exactly. You're right. You're absolutely right. Over precautious, if you want to call it
know.
that.
Right.
It's not what he used, but he says overreact for this. I don't know. Chintan hasn't confirmed this, but I think I might have looked it up, and Chintan's not sure if that's the case. But this might be the extent of the whole paper. I think this whole paper is just 1 page long. But I guess we should confirm it. Either way, this page is sufficient description for those of you who are interested in what he has to say. Nassim Taleb has to say, and he's just saying what Chintan said. Again, I mean, you say you're quoting me. I was just quoting him, or someone else that quoted him. So,
Right. But you
well,
still have to
he
give
he
like a brief description. I think you'll explain it
right,
better because you've
maybe
read it
maybe
and everything. So
right. So he was there's a classic plain example where he says so. It's actually a dilemma me, Chintan, and another friend of ours were discussing about, and we're talking about how he was saying that people are unreasonably worried about plane crashing, and I was saying that and no, sorry. He said that they're unreasonable about unreasonable anxiety, if you want to call it, about planes crashing. And what he says is, what my friend was saying is that because the stats say that you're more likely to die on the way to the airport than if you're flying in the plane itself. And then to that, I mean, intuitively, I felt that didn't make sense to me because if you read Talib's books, he'll give you I don't know, he'll in a way he'll persuade you to trust your instincts a lot more and how useful your instincts could be. And my instinct was to think, no, that doesn't really make sense. Maybe there's a reason for us to be afraid of flights and us crashing from them. And that's true. Now the stats say what happened so far. So far, you can say more people have died on the way to the hospital than on the way to the airport than people flying on the plane. But the truth is, it's more than likely that the planes are so secure and the whole airport system and immigration system and all our checking is so safe and secure because of our fear, because of that fear of the planes crashing. And as a result, you have less crashes. But one thing to consider is if there's a damage in the plane and if there's a damage in the car, you're more likely to die of a plane than a car.
yeah,
So Nassim Taleb calls these fat-tailed events, right? There's a statistical term, and it's a lot more elaborate, not appropriate for our audience, and even I'm probably not well equipped or have the knowledge of it. Basically, events that are very rare, and there's so much uncertainty in the outcome of these events. So that's the thing with planes. When things go wrong in planes, you don't know how shit is going to go down because there's so much risk involved in it. There's so much damage. The potential death of everyone is higher than in a car.
yeah,
So that's the reason why planes are safe. And when I was talking planes, I was also saying when in reference to Corona, where you don't have to know that wearing a seatbelt is safe to wear it. You can't say that you need evidence and you need to wear the belt to protect myself, and you need evidence of people dying without wearing the belt. Only then I'll wear the belt. That doesn't make sense. Intuitively, logically, we can say that wearing belts are a lot more safer. Although statistical data helps, I mean, even I guess theoretical data helps, but you need sometimes you just need your instincts, and you need to see what's obvious, and your experience. You need to trust your experience and those of people. You don't need data, you don't need knowledge, you don't need theories to know what's the right thing to do.
right.
And the same goes with Corona. We don't have sufficient evidence of the effectiveness of these lockdowns, but either way, it's something we intuitively know will help reduce the rate of spreading. And it's obvious that the strain that would occur on the hospitals and the medical staff of the countries, right?
Right.
We know there's obvious. And yeah, he mentions this paper. If you read the one of the stanzas, it says For instance, during a pandemic, that mostly spares young, healthy individuals, an independent emergency that would typically be routine may become untreatable because of lack of resources. Further, in conditions of severe societal breakdowns, many additional risks will emerge that for all agents that can't be reduced to the initial short-term risk of infection to the individual. And to declutter that, as Shekhar Gupta would say, all he's trying to say is when we're in extreme situations, the probability of exponential damage in that situation, exponential, unpredictable, uncertain damage, is extremely high.
Yeah.
And so, an example, another Twitter lady who's a critic of Taleb actually agreeing with him on this point, says that imagine if you had a terrorist attack or another, I don't know, water shortage. Like in India, I was thinking farmers could have water shortage. Right? How during summers all the water gets over and
Yeah,
all that.
and like a natural disaster even. So
Yeah, natural disaster. Yeah, she mentioned the natural disaster. So yeah, again, all these natural disasters. So we won't know how to respond. And then the economic crash. Even if during Ebola we don't, like doctors. Doctors is a classic example. We go around doctors. How are the other people going to be treated?
yeah,
And then will we have enough people to work? And how that exacerbate the number of deaths? And there's so much uncertainty that it seems obvious that this quarantine was necessary because the threat of a communicable virus like this, contagion or whatever they call it, is we've been talking about for decades. Chint, you and me, like we know Bill Gates warned us. There's that Vox video. Maybe that's something you can link to.
yeah,
And then we were always talking about how the world could come to an end, right?
yeah,
Nuclear war and all these kind of things. The threat of a global virus like this was like top of the list, always,
yeah, yeah.
always. Superbugs. Kurzgesagt, for those of you that don't know, they made a video on it. A brilliant video.
No, I think the Bill Gates predicting video is like super viral. Like the one at the TED Talk and everything, where he says that we
Oh, he
aren't
did a
ready
TED
at
talk?
all.
Okay.
Yeah, where he wasn't.
I haven't seen that. Yeah.
Like he just says that we aren't ready at all for an epidemic. Like this was right after I think the SARS or no, not
Ebola,
SARS, the
Ebola
2015.
swine flu, maybe. Ebola swine flu, maybe? I don't know.
I think it was right after Ebola. Yeah, 2015. I think he said
Right.
we aren't ready for this at all. Even though we contained this and everything, we aren't ready at all. And the way we responded wasn't right. This could like scale and this could be a massive thing. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, so exactly. So it's known, and it's an accurate prediction because we're seeing it manifest in front of us now, right? So wait, I was going to. I'll just post that Vox video. I think it's related to the same topic. I haven't seen the TEDx one.
yeah.
And one more I want. There's a beautiful Kurzgesagt video on superbugs. Superbugs are slightly unrelated, but also related in a way, tangential you could call it. But basically, these bacteria's overprescriptions of antibiotics and viruses and our eating habits are good grounds for these bugs to evolve, and they develop an immunity to these antibiotics and our remedies, and eventually they become so strong that none of our antibiotics can kill these bugs or viruses.
Right.
So they call them superbugs, and it's part of the research. I'm sure Bill Gates is investing in the research to get rid of these. I think this specifically of antibiotics, so it might not be that relevant to corona, but I think it's still something interesting and something people should realize every time a doctor prescribes antibiotics. Or for you meat eaters, Chintan, you included, who have these meat that is pumped with antibiotics. It's easier to farm them that way. You don't have to worry about meat getting infected. So all your store-bought meat, especially in America,
Maybe you want to mention you're a vegan.
Yeah. No, but that's not why I'm saying it. Veganism is the truth, okay? You want to argue about veganism now, huh? You don't know shit. Fucking meat eaters. Yeah.
Earthling Ed has taught you well.
Yeah, yes. He's taught many people. He's a brilliant. Yeah, another video should link in the description, but yeah. But yeah, he has. He's very good. And guys, I know vegans come across as super aggressive and argumentative, but listen to what they have to say. There's sense in it. There's a lot of sense. But yeah, again, I'm digressing. So read this paper too. That's something you guys should consider. Fundamentally it's just describing why we need to take the curfew and lockdown measures that we are taking. By the way, it's 3 weeks. 21 days they say is a healthy period for the virus to die down and all that. If you're infected by it, even though you're asymptomatic, you can still be infected by it. And yeah, 3 weeks. So that's why in India the curfew is 21 days. Maybe every across the world it's 3 weeks. I don't know.
Like
I don't know what
I
this.
read that in China they were opening up theaters, and then just one day after that they reclosed it or
Oh,
something.
that's a shame. That's a shame. So they might have new cases, right?
Yeah,
But I
probably.
think as far as the data they're releasing, it's reducing. There are no new cases,
No,
right?
no, for sure. Yeah, like from the data, it's like pretty like they have contained it properly, and it's reducing and everything. That's why I guess they thought they'll maybe reopen a few things or whatever. So they, I mean, I'm not entirely sure what all they opened, but
Right.
this was one thing which they opened up, like the theaters
Right,
and
right.
everything, cinemas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to trust the government at all,
Yeah, exactly.
especially with all the bullshit they're giving. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
man,
But
for all, yeah,
but that's what, like one more thing that I recently read was, which is much more promising, is the South Korea news. Like for the first time,
ah,
the number of active cases is lesser than the number of recovered cases.
that's brilliant.
No, it's more than the number of
Oh,
recovered. No, lesser. Sorry, lesser
less,
than
it
the,
has
yeah,
to be less.
lesser
Yeah.
than the number of active cases. So I
Less if it's positive news.
yeah, so they have like they are the most promising. Like they have properly contained it, and we can believe South Korea. I think like South Korea have their,
Sure.
yeah.
No, even China. In fact, Nassim Taleb mentions it. He mentioned China and South Korea, and he said we should learn from them.
Yeah,
They both took drastic measures. China, we know for a fact, take drastic measures because they don't even need to worry about the people's response.
yeah,
For some reason, the people love them for being strict. It's like that. I don't know. You know those sexual fetishes where people want to be hit? They're masochism,
right.
I think, or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like that. They people just love the way their government treats them for some reason. I don't know. Maybe they don't, but we'll never know. So China and South Korea,
yeah. So this is the
yeah,
graph. Like so, there is like I think as of
right, right.
today there
Yeah,
is
on the
four
left
five.
it mentions the number of people that are infected, and right it's the number of people. I can read Korean. It says
Yeah,
Tokok, oh, and
for
yeah,
sure,
never mind.
for
Sorry.
sure.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're showing me. Chintan, please.
No, I'm just, even I have no idea. But then I'm just seeing the numbers. For probably 4811 is the number of people who have recovered, and 4523 is probably the number of active cases. So no, this is again, this is just a link
I
from
think
Reddit,
word for
which says that
Reddit, right? And we can
uh,
always trust Reddit. That's right.
yeah,
Hundred
exactly.
percent.
So the number
Yeah.
of recoveries now exceed this, and like there
Okay.
was yeah, I mean in the I was reading
So
the
the
comments
headline
as well.
number of recoveries now exceed the number of active drivers.
So
And you're reading?
I was reading the comments as well over here. So again, like people were commenting. Reddit again has a lot of US this thing, right? Redditors are mainly US.
So,
So
yeah, yeah.
they were predicting, not predicting. Many of them were saying that South Korea, the people probably trust the government, so they. That's why they took the drastic measures. Could have been they
Yeah,
applied it, and people were at home and
yeah,
everything. But then there was
yeah.
another South Korean who commented below that saying that's not true at all. We don't trust the government at all. It is mainly so like there's a lot of like corruption, and apparently there. I mean, I guess every
Okay.
government and
Yeah, yeah. Their president got impeached recently, I
exactly,
think, or there was some
exactly.
trial. Yeah, yeah. But go
Exactly.
on.
He mentioned that as well. But the main reason that they obeyed all these quarantine stuff and everything was that because they recently went through the MERS thing, MERS. I guess
Yeah,
even
Middle Eastern
yeah,
SARS, but in Middle East. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a coronavirus. Yeah,
But I think that affected South Korea quite a bit as well. So they
possibly,
yeah.
possibly. It's
So
primarily in the Middle East. But
yeah, I
yeah,
think
I
it's
read
right
about
here.
it.
Yeah,
One of
South
the
Korean
comments.
here. I disagree. Korean people in general have a great distrust of government. Political corruption here is off the charts. Also, you have to remember democracy was won by overthrowing a military dictatorship. Most of our former presidents have been jailed. Our last president was impeached, as you mentioned, and they just don't
Yeah.
listen and are very stubborn. But, however, our last experience with the MERS epidemic helped the survival instinct to kick in as soon as the news of the mysterious virus from China made the news. So that's
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's I guess why
I
they went through
yeah.
something. So
I, I have a point to make about that. Like, I mean, I get it. There's just even in India,
yeah,
no one trusts the government, and it's just to some extent we believe the threat of the virus.
right,
the point I'm trying to make is the trust of the government comes in our trust of their response to a situation.
Yeah.
We trust that in a situation like this, they will behave properly. Maybe because they are also worried of the viruses. We don't know their intentions.
Right.
But for example, I feel there could be governments where you don't believe, like all the arguments some were making. Yeah, like in Delhi, I'll give an example. I don't know if you know the Shaheen Bagh for our international viewers. There was a protest against citizenship bill that was brought about a month ago. And the government, in the last few weeks ago, the protesters were stuck on the road for weeks, for months. And to get rid of them, the government had sent in many police force and many people from the police in order to disperse the crowd, but it didn't work. It was ineffective. The crowd was resilient. The protests carried on for days. Corona provided a appropriate and what do you call it, opportunistic moment for the government to get rid of them, because they can't argue against the coronavirus, and all your rights are revoked because this is for the greater good of the people. And the people didn't believe them initially, the Scheinbach people.
Yeah.
They were saying, no, this is a government ploy and this is for them. But eventually we had to listen, right? Because,
It's a
again,
world.
I guess you could argue it's not because of the government, they were listening
It's
to
the
other
world.
news
World. It's a
sources.
worldwide pandemic. So
Right. But it's not possible. Like, it's not possible to have a curfew until the government has to organize that. They have to make the announcement asking everyone to stay home, and they need to spread the word, spread the news.
right.
There is some trust in the information the government puts out, and if you've noticed in India, every state, I'm sure in America it's the case, every state and prime minister, every day they're coming out, the chief ministers and the prime ministers, they're coming out and speaking.
Right.
Every day they have a press conference, every day they're giving updates on what's the
I
situation,
think that's
scenario,
happening in
circumstance.
like almost every country. I think. I mean,
Yeah,
mainly
yeah,
affected
right.
countries at
So,
least. But yeah.
so that's indicative of trust establishment. I
Yeah.
think there's a trust you're trying to establish. They don't want to fuck around. They don't want to make these announcements political.
Yeah.
And you can see that they're serious and trying to at least maintain some sort of honesty in order to maintain the trust. So in that sense, I feel like people are trusting the government. Not an overall trust, but for this situation, they're trusting for them
Yeah.
to do the right.
But that's what it's an easy trust. That's why it's
It's 100%. It's not just the government.
yeah.
It's because there are other sources, other factors. Yeah, it's easy thing to trust. And also the government themselves are threatened by this. So that's they're motivated to work in getting rid of corona.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else? What else? I guess those are the main things I'm following now. So those kind of discussions, those kind of arguments.
Yeah.
I think there's one thing we need to the medicine and the vaccines and how long that could take. That's a topic I thought we should cover. I don't know if you came across. You talked about it. You also said you heard about chloroquine and
Yeah.
hydroxy
I was hearing, but
chloroquine.
then I also heard that some people took that and died because of it and everything here in the US again. Like they just thought it could just.
Hold on. Sorry. Sorry. Tell me.
I also heard that some people just
Right.
took it like unnecessarily and died through it and everything. They thought it could just prevent them or whatever or something like
Yeah.
that.
Kill them somehow. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how legit it is. I guess like because such news comes out every day, like all these
Yeah.
vaccines and
Yeah.
and this medicine cures and everything. Almost every day we get news, but I don't know what to believe, what not to. So
Sure. Nothing conclusive or
yeah,
concrete.
exactly.
And there's another thing. Add to that, a lot of these medical journals I read somewhere they're accepting all papers that people are sending to them.
Okay.
There's some medical designation they have, any kind of credibility they have, doctors or whatever. Then they're accepting the papers, and they're not verifying whether it's peer reviewed solely because they want to gather as many facts as they can as quickly as possible, and then they'll have their teams to verify and check, and later they'll review it.
Right.
But the urgency of finding a cure is forcing them to accept all the papers. So that could add to a lot of the uncertainty around papers to people who are uninitiated or uneducated. So
Yeah, for sure.
so yeah, because one of the warnings I got when they were talking about chloroquine is don't self-prescribe and don't take it on your own. You need to take it only under doctor supervision and prescriptions. So yeah, there's hopefully even then it's not a cure. It's anti-malaria medicine, I think, or something along those lines. But it helps attack most viruses, and it it weakens them. So it reduces the time of infection. It reduces the longevity of your sickness or yeah, of the flu you have. So it heals you faster. That's the idea. And yeah, it's again, yeah, only small anecdotes. It's still anecdotal, no proper science.
Right.
That's the thing. And who knows? Yeah, so I'll give you two direct sources I'm getting. One is from San Jose. There's a curfew. I have a friend living there. She was saying it's very similar. I was telling her about my Bangalore situation, and here I went to the shop actually. I mean, there's a lockdown, but you're allowed to go to the shops and all
Right.
that, so it was fun.
Essentials.
So, yeah, essential. So the wind is all no pollution. There's no dust in my house for the last few days. The birds are chirping. Roads are empty. For the first time, I love driving in Bangalore. It's the worst otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to drive in Bangalore.
Yeah.
You never want to. For those of you, yeah, if you drive in Bangalore, you'll never want to drive ever. I mean, it's that bad. It's probably the worst in the world. But yeah, so I was doing that. So that was enjoyable, and it was probably the most exciting thing I did in the last few days. Driving to Big Bazaar. Yeah, it's a stop. It's a store here, famous store in India. For those of you who don't know.
I finally found
And
toilet paper in Target today
oh yeah, yeah.
after
Congrats for that. So right.
after
So
a lot of
what
search.
was it before that? I was wondering. Were you just going with shit in your butt, or you take a bath every time you took a shit?
No, dude, I was asking my roommate. He had
Okay,
he had
okay.
extra. Thankfully.
Right, because I've been reading reports. People just hate the fact that they take a bath after shitting now. Right, and yeah, you were trying to use kitchen tissue and all that, right? Those were your
Yeah,
substitutes.
but
And all that.
thankfully my roommate had extra, so I
Right,
used those.
right. Good for you. Good thing he shares. Huh? Okay. Right. Well, yeah, in India, for you guys who don't know, we use water to clean our butts. So it's a lot more safer, I think. In Nassim Taleb's all anti-fragile. We survive even viruses. So we're good. I'm good.
Immunity.
Yeah, immunity, cleanliness, all that. But yeah, so that's his really. My friend from UK was saying, I told you about this.
Hmm.
He's got I think he's in London and 40 cases in his. So he's a doctor, so he goes every day. We're wishing him good luck.
Is he
We're
like
thanking him.
is he like working overtime and shit or what? No.
Yeah, there are more shifts. I don't know if it's overtime, but it's more hectic than it used to be. I didn't get the exact details of his work hours,
Right.
but there's more work. He said there's a lot more work now. So it could mean he's using his already given time more optimally, more efficiently, or it could mean he's increasing his work hours. I don't know. But he said there are around 40 cases. I think 7 of them died and 3 of them incubated. He was telling me the problem will be with incubators and there's a severe shortage,
No,
especially in Bangalore.
ventilators. Ventilators.
Sorry, ventilators,
Yeah.
which what is it, conducts the process of
It
in
helps.
intubation.
It helps in like breathing, basically.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that breathing process is called intubation or something. So
Right.
ventilators help in intubation.
Right.
So he
No.
was telling me that requires also specialized doctors.
Right.
So intubation is not knowledge. So
No,
that's
and
another short.
the ventilator shortage. That is like a huge thing, like
Add
everywhere.
to that the ventilator
Yeah.
shortages.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in Bangalore, they're saying we could have around 4,000 cases potentially, and we have only around 700 ventilators.
Oh.
We could have 4,000 cases that require ventilators, but we have only 700 ventilators. So there's a WhatsApp post. I haven't verified it, but it looked legitimate, and because the numbers seemed accurate. Like just a week ago, our government, central government, ordered like 4,000 ventilators, and it was big news. It was headline.
Right.
So I'm not surprised if Bangalore has only 700. That still sounds like a lot. So,
New York,
so
in New York, the governor, the mayor over there was saying they'll require like the predictions are that they'll require like 30K to 40K ventilators. But Trump
there you go.
was in his speech, I think yesterday or day before, he was just randomly saying, I don't think they'll require so much. I don't think the US will require so much and everything. So
They both might have a point. That guy's probably trying to be a little more precautious, which is how he should be. Trump was trying to be one arguing, and he's probably closer to the truth. He'll be lucky. He doesn't know maybe, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
30K might be worst case scenario, which you should prepare for.
but there is like right now New York has like some 40K cases already. So I wouldn't. I mean, they
Yeah, but
obviously
only
they
like
all
I
know
think
don't
like
need it, but
5% or 10% require ventilators. I think something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, right, 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 right. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe 30K, 40K is a big number, but as the
Because, like I
predictions,
said, yeah, I mean, because it's US, it's a lot of, but still, even a country, we are also, it's a lot of, we need, like, we're trying to order 4K, we think is useful.
right.
And a lot of companies are started, like, a lot of funding is going into new companies that are producing the
Yeah, like
ventilators.
even
So,
these car companies and all are producing, like Bosch,
there you
and
go.
I think
There you
Bosch
go.
isn't a car company, but I think GM is started to produce and everything. So yeah,
Nice.
they are like all
Ready
helping
for
out.
that thing? 3M?
Sorry,
3M.
what PM?
3M. 3 AM. 3M, no A.
What is 3M?
It's a company. You might want to Google it. They announced that they're going to produce, I
Oh,
think it
okay.
was respirators.
Oh, okay.
They're a science technology company. In India, they actually have car washes. I don't know if you know. Yeah, there's one.
Okay.
And the N95
Oh,
face
they are making the
masks.
face masks. Okay, okay, okay. I see.
Yeah, it was respirators. I confused it with ventilators.
And
No.
then I read this news that the Apple campus, right,
Yeah.
in I think in California or Seattle, I don't remember. Like
Hmm.
they had like some 60,000 masks or something which they had ordered during forest fires like 4 years back or something. So they just
Okay.
donated it right now.
Oh,
Yeah, it was just
who
there
did it?
in their go
Who?
down. Apple, I think.
Apple did it. Okay.
Yeah. Like they for their company, for their campus, they had just ordered like a bulk just because of forest fires or some shit like that.
You know Vinay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So our mutual friend Vinay, he's working for some startup. They're a fashion company.
Where is he?
He was working in New York.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
that's the thing. He anticipated 1 week from then when the breakout would it would increase. He probably read it somewhere, but he took it on face value,
Mm-hmm.
and he moved like a week before the major breakout happened in New York.
Oh,
And
so
he's
his work was in New York, but he moved, is it?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, awesome.
exactly. He went to Shishir's house, another friend of ours, for
But
those who are
that
listening.
he's also in almost in Manhattan only, I think the other guy. So
Shishir? No,
yeah,
no, no. I think he's outside. I forgot which
he's
state.
like half an hour from Manhattan. I talked to him
You know
like yeah,
this? Oh, so then okay. I guess not much good.
yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Either way, that happened. And no, I was trying to say his startup fashion company now has shifted all their focus in producing the masks.
Okay,
So,
okay. I see. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, and then like some I just read some Google making ads. They donated some 350 million worth of ads to small businesses and everything. So
whoa, okay.
yeah, because yeah, I think like the world is becoming like a weirder place. Everyone is like becoming more human, and it's
Yes,
becoming
yeah.
more one.
Uh,
I think for sure.
yeah. Altruistic. I think
Yeah.
that's the word you're looking for. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. They are, yeah, yeah, more human, I guess. Yeah. Kindness and all that. It's just brilliant. That's the thing. We talked about this how nothing like a common enemy that unites us, right?
Right.
And especially in this case, Corona. So it's easy. It's an easy target, easy enemy, and it's another thing Shekhar Gupta touched upon. Now, as much as you don't like globalization, this is real globalization. You can't help it. You have to share your data. You have to share decision, policy. Everything has to be shared.
Right.
You're forced to be global. So there's a limit to how much you can avoid it and prevent it. For all of you hardcore conservative people, nothing wrong with that, but there are limits to your doctrine. That's all I'm saying. But yeah. Uh, yeah, what else? We got anything else? So I think we covered a lot, right?
Yeah. 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 We did. We did.
Nice.
Okay.
Fine. Hope you guys found that informative. Surface video. Don't know how clear we are. We learn as we go. It's like our governments are learning from Corona. We learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And
This is our first try. So
yeah, let's see how it goes. We enjoyed it. It was not bad, Chintan. I think
yeah.
it's pretty good. It's not,
For
not
sure.
bad
For
for
sure.
first
For
time.
sure.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how the audience respond, but
Yeah. I thought
not
I'll
bad.
be even more awkward. I thought it was a little
Yeah,
less.
yeah, yeah.
So
Nice.
not bad. Not
Good. It
bad.
was good talk. Yeah, and yeah, hope you guys come tune in again. We'll improve. Promise you that. So we'll take your feedback. Leave comments in the description. I mean, leave the comments. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like. And yeah, check out the description. Follow the guys we posted. Oh, very informative, very honest people. No matter what political spectrum, what kind of news you trust them. They're pretty good. Be skeptical always, but you can trust them. Yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yep. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Khudafis, take care. Shabak khair. All of you, take care.
See
And
you.
bye, Chen.
See
See
you.
you.
See
See you
you.
soon.